Hey guys, my name is Vito. Thanks for watching Vito's Garage. Thanks for tuning in. In this video I'm gonna be working on my 1981 Mercedes W126. It's a 300 SD, it's an inline 5 turbo diesel. So what I'm gonna be doing on it is basically I have an issue. My transmission shifts pretty harsh, so I'm going to be working on that. I'm going to be trying to determine what's the fault in that. And as you guys know, or most of you probably know, that these transmissions are all mechanical. They're shifting thanks to vacuum, and their quality shifts and how hard or how soft the transmission shifts depends on the vacuum system. So here what I have is this is the main, really most important things is oh, sorry about that, vacuum diagrams. Okay, so you can find these online. Sometimes if you're lucky, you're gonna have a vacuum diagram right here or on that side. Depends if you have a 123 or 126 or other models, Benzes, but this system shows you pretty much how like all the vacuum routing. And this particular one is this is a OM617 turbo engine. So we're gonna be looking at, let's see, yeah, this is an older one. So we're gonna be looking at this one, a 1981 to 1984 617 turbo diesel, and it has all this vacuum system. So what I'm gonna make sure is that the vacuum is routed properly, and then I also have that I purchased a couple, vacuum lines, then vacuum coupling right there, all that stuff. Gotta keep moving this camera. Come on, Vito, are you new or what? And there's this, like a triangle. And then I purchased 1 meter of this vacuum hose. So it's gonna be for all the connections and stuff. So I'm gonna start working on that. All right. So let's get started. Save old school Benzes. Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm gonna find my diagrams, which is right here. Alright, it says 1981, 1984. So this is the diagram. I'm not really gonna go over it, but it just tells you that it has, everything is marked, of course, and it tells you where each line goes to, how it's routed, because if your vacuum system is not routed properly, that can be also an issue. Your transmission might shift really harsh or not right. So we're gonna check all that, and mainly what I want to do is I want to check, actually let me show you. I want to check all these connections, these rubber connections. What happens with these connections is that, especially the rubber ones, is they get so old and soft and they start cracking. So I need to replace those. That's why I have that long vacuum hose that I actually purchased. It's 1 meter long in length, so it's gonna be good. And another thing is, make sure that your throttle linkages are all nice and moving smoothly. All the ball joints are good. If you haven't watched that video, I'll leave a link down below so you guys can watch it and see how I maintain this thing, all the linkages and ball joints, how you should periodically check that to make sure they're moving smoothly, and also how you have to pop these ball joints out and clean everything up and re-grease everything. Alright guys, so currently what I'm doing is I'm making sure that my vacuum system, all the hoses and lines are going to the right places by using the diagram that you can find online, or you can find on the front of your core support. It's still there. So that's what I'm doing right now, and then after that I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be changing those rubber hoses. I'm going to change them all, just because I want to actually be sure that everything is good. All the rubber hoses are brand new. There's going to be no issues with that. So alright guys, so another thing is, as you can see, this hose has a lot of oil. Okay, that's possibly because my vacuum pump is probably bringing some oil from there. And that's another thing, is you have to watch out for oil in the vacuum lines. If there's oil in the vacuum lines, your transmission can shift pretty horrible, because oil is blocking the vacuum from coming to components it's supposed to go to. So just check for oil. If there's oil, blow the oil out. Damn, that's a problem. This thing is rubbing with this hose. That's no good. I have to address that, put something here so it doesn't keep rubbing. Anyways, back to this thing. And also another thing is these 3-2 way valves. As you can see, these hoses are pretty horrible. They're pretty old. And let's see if I can pull it off with my hand. Ooh, I was able to pull it off with my hand. That's crazy. See, they're not supposed to be that loose. Oh yeah, there's lots of movement. You're not supposed to. That means that it's not sealing properly. Okay, so we're gonna change that as well. All those vacuum hoses what these 2-3 way valves do is wow, what is that? It's a brand new car right there, the white one. It has squeaky brakes. Wow. All right, this, as you can see, when you apply throttle, this thing moves, and it moves those 2 valves. So what it does is, once you accelerate, it moves those 2 valves, and then it changes, routes the vacuum to each port differently. And if you have, these hoses are pretty old and they're not sealing properly, so they need to be replaced. So anyways guys, what I'm going to be doing right now is changing all these rubber hose connections for the vacuum lines. So I'm just quickly gonna change them and then get back with you and show you how the new ones look. Alright guys, so this is one of the hoses that I just pulled off. Alright, and here's the new one. So I'll just need to kind of measure it out, and that's it. Just cut it off with the side cutters.
A few moments later.
Now let me quickly show you the difference. So you see that opening in this one? That's a new one. Now look in this one. It's a pretty big difference, right? And then as you can see, this is dry rotting and it's like coming apart. Let's try to compare them close to each other. Right there. So now there's some oil in this, but it should be good right now. It's a good idea to blow it out. You can use your mouth as a compressor. Yeah. I'll open this up later too, just to make sure it's all good. But right now, I'm just gonna connect these. Sure that it goes in really tight like this one did. And now you're gonna support this connection, and then you're gonna slide this on. There we go. All right, just like that. And now I'm gonna do the same with obviously this guy. You can see it's pretty rotted. Let's use my pick. See what happens to it? Look at this rubber. It's no good. Alright, so I'm replacing the vacuum hoses. And as you can see, this is a new one. Now look how difficult it is to put it on. Like you gotta put pressure on it. And then the old ones are so easy to take off. I'll show you. Like this one, for example. See? It just slides off easy. There's a bad seal in that. So I'm gonna finish this up, change these hoses, move on. Alright, here's some progress. As you guys can see, I changed the hoses on these 3-2 valves. Okay, and then I disconnected this central plug, cleaned it up right here as well. And what I did is I replaced this vacuum line, the plastic vacuum line right here. The other one was really brittle. It's a good idea to actually change all of them, so because they're pretty brittle. So I'm probably gonna change this one as well. We'll see. But this one, as you can see, is fresh. The white one, it goes right here. So this was changed. This rubber hose was changed. This rubber hose was changed. This rubber hose was changed. This the triangle, the 3 connect one. And then I was missing an orifice here, so I added one, but I gotta look up at the diagram. I only have the yellow ones, and I don't think this is the right one, but for now it should be okay. And I added this 4-way hose right here, and I didn't have another triangle, so I'm gonna have to plug this port for now, and then this gets connected there. Yeah, so basically the last thing that I'm gonna do is probably change that one right there for the vacuum shutoff valve, that hose. And then also at the one at the vacuum modulator, I have to change that as well. And then other than that, I'm gonna clean some stuff up, reconnect everything. Alright, and this can be connected back on. Make sure it goes all the way. Alright. What we're trying to accomplish here is make sure there's no vacuum leaks. And like I said, the rubber hoses, all these ones, they become really old and dry rotted and start leaking vacuum. It's a good idea to change them all. Alright guys, quick update. So I fixed all my hoses, vacuum hoses, replaced them. These are brand new hoses. That white line was replaced, cleaned up everything, reinstalled. That goes here. Don't pay attention to this screw. This is because I need to get another 3-way connector. I don't need a 4-way, I need a 3-way, so that's why this is just plugged up right now. Otherwise everything is according to the diagram. Okay, this was all replaced. All the hoses, also the vacuum shutoff hose was replaced. And if you are wondering, as you can see, this part right here sticking out, that's because I'm waiting on another 3-2-way valve that's gonna come soon, and I'll just replace that one. So that's gonna be done. The bottom valve was already replaced, which is good. And if you haven't watched my videos, or video I should say, about cleaning the throttle linkage, be sure to check it out. It's going to be down below. So everything else is reconnected properly. Actually, what I'm going to say is I need 2 more 3-way connector like this guy. That's because right there, as you can see, I had to do some ghetto ass stuff. So I need to get 2 more brand new 3-way hoses, and after that it's going to be all good. But right now I just made sure it doesn't leak vacuum, and it doesn't. It's all good. Just also, when you do this job, make sure that none of the hoses actually you know, rub against each other. Like, make sure this turbo overboost hose is properly seated, or you know, it's in the retainers like this one, and it's not rubbing against anything. Yeah, just look around, make sure it's all good. Also, right now, what I did is I disconnected this hose from that, and when I disconnected it, it had vacuum in the system. It was actually bleeding off vacuum, so that's a good sign. Means the system is sealed up. But on these 126s, this actually doesn't apply to 123s, but on the 126s, behind this fender, you have a vacuum reservoir, all right, that holds vacuum also on that side. On 123s, like that one, your vacuum reservoir is actually in the trunk. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I have my vacuum pump with me, and I'm gonna test it, make sure this vacuum reservoir that's located behind this fender is holding vacuum.
1 eternity later.
Alright, first thing is actually make sure your vacuum pump is working. So plug this hose with your finger and then pump the vacuum pump. And you can see it's good. Now I'm gonna release. So the pump is working. Now I'm gonna connect this right there. It's all connected. Now let's try to pump it. Feel. So I'm pumping and nothing. Barely anything. Actually, you know what? It could be because that vacuum reservoir is actually really big. This might take a while to pump all that, I think. Let's see, does it leak or no? Looks like it's holding vacuum. Or no? I think so. Let's try to pump it more. Oh yeah, actually it's pretty good. Seems like it. Let's see, I'm gonna keep it there for a little, see if it's leaking. Alright, good. Appears to be not leaking. That's good. So that's how you test it. Now I'm gonna release it. Release here. Awesome. If you own one of these old school Benzes, you need a hand vacuum pump. Alright, so we checked that. This thing is good. Now we can reconnect it and also check the other one. But the other one is pretty difficult to get to. Connection is under there. But it's gonna be okay. And the reason why I know is because when I unplugged this line, there was still a bunch of vacuum in there, and it was bleeding off when I took this hose off. So these are connected in series, both of these tanks, the reservoirs on this side and the other side. So that means that both of them are good and they're sealing. Otherwise, if let's say that one wasn't sealing, I would not hear the vacuum hissing when if I were to remove this hose. But since I removed this hose, vacuum hose, and the vacuum was coming out, bleeding out, that means it's good. The system is sealing. So that's good. I'm gonna reconnect that stuff now. And one more thing is I need to change that rubber vacuum hose on the modulator. That's one of the last things I want to do. And you can see all these old and really dried out hoses. And like I was telling you guys, even in other videos, that when these get old, they also tend to expand and they don't seal properly. Another good idea would be, if you're working on it and you're replacing on these rubber hoses, is to replace 2 of them also at your ignition switch. There's 2 vacuum lines coming to your ignition switch for the shutoff, and they have 2 rubber hoses for the connection. So it's a good idea to actually replace those as well. Other than that, yeah, you can see, guys, that this is pretty horrible. So, and there's a lot of them, as you can see. It's pretty much like, I don't know how many pieces, more than 10, right? This one is the worst, seems like it. Look at this thing. Again? Why are you flying over here everywhere?
משלמים קצת יותר כסף כדי לעלות ולשחק כאן היום, ובמכבי, גם אם לא יודו בזה,
stay in one spot. Yeah. So, you squeeze it, and see all the cracks. So
1 hour later.
Alright guys, real quick, here's the vacuum modulator and that line that goes through it. I also changed that line. Just the rubber hose, so make sure you do that.
A few moments later.
Alright guys, here you go. So I replaced everything with all the right connectors and hoses, vacuum hoses, as you can see. And it's amazing, my transmission actually shifts a lot better because I eliminated a lot of vacuum leaks, as you guys know. And I was probably telling you guys about, you know, how important it is to change these vacuum hoses, because when they get old, they get brittle and they actually collect, they just kind of like become brittle, and then they don't make a good seal anymore. But right now it's amazing, it's all fixed up. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for watching VITO'S Garage. Make sure you subscribe and also check out my playlists. I have a lot of videos about these old school cars, and stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more videos coming up, and I'll see you in the next one. Save old school Benzes, and that's best to other needs.